Hey guys, Lauren Oliver here for episode 16 of Ask Lauren Oliver, and I'm particularly excited about this week's episode because I have a very special guest, a very good friend of mine, plus a fabulous YA and middle grade author, Courtney Sheinmel, and we're sitting here in my Brooklyn apartment. We had a work writing day, and she is going to help me answer some of your questions from this week. The first question we're going to start off is from an email. Christy Lewis asked, in one episode you said you write 1,000 words a day. Are all of those words story words, or are some of them outlining and brainstorming for your stories? Courtney can help me answer this because she also writes at least 1,000 words a day. For me, yes, the 1,000 words I do, for the most part, I'd say 90% of the time are just straight story words, and any additional outlining or brainstorming I do has to happen kind of separately or in addition to that. I mean, there are, I guess, some times where I'm uniquely focused on really plotting an outline if it's a very complex story. But for the most part, I kind of do the 1,000 words writing, and I consider that my writing, and then I have to do all the other work separate. What about you, Court?
Well, I think it's kind of boring because actually I have a very similar answer, that it's 1,000 story words a day, except that on days when I'm having a particularly tough time, then I will cheat and add up and let myself have little outline words and they count. And on Tuesdays when I teach at a program called Writopia, then I only have to do 500 words.
Oh, excellent. So good news, kids, cheating is totally acceptable. The next question is from YouTube from Sean Morley Holmes, which is, I was wondering if you could, or Sean Morley Holmes, I was wondering if you should write a lot of short stories before you write a novel, and did you write short stories or just skip straight to your first novel? I really think that's a personal question. I think that depends. I like to read short stories, but it's not really a form that I've ever totally understood or gravitated towards. So I definitely started trying to write novels pretty early on, although I didn't actually finish a novel for many, many years. I started trying to write a novel when I was in 8th grade, and I didn't finish a novel until about senior year of college. So there were a lot of half, quarter, and eighth novels, but I don't know that I actually really wrote a lot of short stories.
I wrote short stories when I was younger. In college, I wrote a lot of short story. And now, I think, now that I've started writing books, I'm so long-winded that I tend to overwrite as it is and then cut. So a short story, well, although it's actually a goal of mine to do, it's I think that would be pretty difficult.
My cat wants to answer the questions, too. Hi. Okay, the last question is, thanks, Courtney.
Thanks, Laura.
Is from Santi Haig from Facebook. The Delirium books and probably Panic are dystopian. Have you ever thought of writing a fantasy series? Well, first of all, I have to say that no, that is not true, Santi. Panic is realistic fiction. It is not dystopian. It's a single, standalone, realistic. Have I thought about writing fantasy? Yeah, I love fantasy. I love reading fantasy. I would love to write a fantasy epic someday. My middle grade books, Liesl and Poe and the Spindlers, are very fantasy-oriented, but I would love to do fantasy for older people or even adults someday. And I'm really hoping that I'll be able to. I have a couple ideas already batting around. For now, I'm focused on some other projects. But yes, definitely, fantasy is kind of some of my favorite to read. Okay, guys, well, that's it for Ask Lauren Oliver, episode 16. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you, and this is Percy.
Yeah, thanks, Percy. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Take care.